And so there's two different relationships that people can have with freedom. They can have freedom from and they can have freedom to. Freedom from, I want you to think about a bird in a cage. That bird wants to be free from that cage. And so many people want to be free from bondage. They want to be free from the external. Hello, hello, hello. I am Imani Adia, the founder and CEO of Soul 360, where we empower you with the tools and knowledge you need to reach your fullest potential. I am so excited to be back on the mic today and having this conversation because it takes this timeless principle and really shows us how important it is to be in spaces where people are creating art, where people are creating movies, where people are creating books and everything in between that really cause us to sit and to question. And so the movie that we are going to be dissecting or really answering some of the different ideas and concepts that come within it is Sinners. Sinners is literally everywhere. Like on my timeline, I see Sinners. And I was already interested in watching the movie, but I was pushed even further to watch the movie after listening to this one clip that I just so happened to see in my timeline. So we're just going to play a little bit of the clip for you, and then we're going to get right into the conversation.
One of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie is really like this exploration of freedom. Cause it kind of messed me up at the end. Cause I was like, "Damn, am I free? Like, is that something that actually exists?"
I love that.
Like,
Yes, so in that clip, she really brings up about how Sinners made her question the whole idea and the whole concept around freedom. And I think freedom is something so important to speak about because it's something that people contemplate with daily, and if not daily, at least once in their lives. What does it mean to be free? And I think that is especially an important question for people whose lineage are tied to foundational Black Americans. That is language that I am pulling from Ryan Coogler, the director of Sinners. I absolutely love that language, and I think it really is so specific and it's also so simple, right? And it really does paint this picture of who that person is and how foundational that people who were enslaved were to this country, to America, and what did freedom look like for them, and what does freedom mean for everyone in this world, and how do we define it the same and how do we define it differently. And freedom was a concept that really came up during my inner work journey through my own personal work, and it's also work that comes up with my clients. But I really want to speak about what happened when I was doing the work and started to question freedom. And it was really interesting, right? Because I was always aware of what I believed freedom to be and also my relationship with freedom. And so there's two different relationships that people can have with freedom. They can have freedom from and they can have freedom to. Freedom from, I want you to think about a bird in a cage. That bird wants to be free from that cage. And so many people want to be free from bondage. They want to be free from the external of what they believe is holding them back, right? They want to be free from the four walls. While there is this other side of freedom, there is that freedom too. And I think about the bird who was born in the wild and they have this freedom to just be. Literally, they only know what it means to fly. And it was through my inner work journey that I went from having this relationship where it was always freedom from to freedom to, the freedom to create, the freedom to get on this mic and to speak to you, the freedom to think and to challenge and to shift my own reality, the freedom to. And I know that a lot of people don't get there because we so many times we equate freedom with the external and also freedom as something that is given to us. When in reality, right, when you are a creator of your reality, when you are in control of your life, when you understand the power that you have innately as just a human being, as a soul, then you know that there is always freedom for you. And the most powerful version of freedom is here in your mind because that is where it starts. And so you can have ideas, if you can have concepts, if you are free to dream and to even begin to think of a different reality from the one that you are currently in, that's when things can really change. That's when your idea of freedom can just shift, and so will the narrative. And so I know that through my own journey, I'll literally never forget where I was really doing inner work really heavily, but specifically there was this 14 days that I was doing inner work and really working on myself. And at the end of that, right? At the end of those 2 weeks, I was like, "Ah, this is what it means to be free." Right? When you're really just focused on becoming the best version of yourself. And there is a aha moment that really happened for me. And I was like, there's no longer a reason for me to associate freedom with freedom from. Because to associate freedom with freedom from limits what it really means to be free. It limits the freedom that I can experience, not only within my mind, but also physically, like on this physical plane. It changes what it means. And so I will literally never forget, and I have the sticky in my room. I probably should have brought it out, but I literally wrote out like there's 3 steps to freedom. Because so many times, right? Like I said, we associate freedom from instead of freedom to. It's freedom from bondage and never just the freedom to be. And so as I was experiencing this newfound freedom that I understood first started and starts right in my mind, I was like, I think about the process that I just went through, but also the process that I have been going through for the past 3 or 4 years when I was really just like, I just want to be the best version of myself. And I will buy every book, I will go to every seminar, I will meditate for however long I need to meditate. And I wrote down these 3 steps, and it came to me so clearly and so effortlessly. And I was like, the first step is all about releasing, releasing ideas, releasing beliefs, releasing emotions that just don't belong, that are weighing you down, that are holding you back, that are stopping you from being able to really think as big and boldly as you can, that's stopping you from entering your limitless, right? When I think of freedom, I attach it to this concept of limitless. And you all hear me say it all the time. I'm like, go be limitless. And I guess now I'm telling you what that also equates to is just go be free. I want you to show up as the most authentic version of yourself. I want you to show up the version of yourself that's in purpose. And you're not able to do that when you aren't mentally and emotionally clear. It's so difficult to do that when you are dealing with the hurt and the pain of the past. It's so difficult to do that when you haven't stopped to let go of the limiting beliefs that you've been carrying since you were a child, even though those limiting beliefs could come from a parent that had their own limiting beliefs and didn't release that and let that go. It could come from an auntie or an uncle, or it can come from a boss that told you X, Y, and Z, or a teacher. And instead of going in and checking in those beliefs and making sure that they are not running your life, you just continue to sit with it. And it's just under the surface, running everything. And so release is very big for me. It's something very big that I work with clients. And it's just like you got to let that stuff go because it's not serving you. And it's really stopping you from stepping into that next level and stepping into your limitless, as I call it. All right. I want you to be in your limitless era. I want you to be and to operate and exist in your limitless, whatever that may look like for you. I just know I'm not here to put limits on you. And so many times we believe that the limit is external. And for the external limit to truly exist, we first have to accept it internally. And I'm just at a place where I'm like, we're not accepting that. We're not accepting that. Mm-mm. Not anymore. Not anymore. There's just so much on the horizon for you. And so that's the first step, right? Of getting to that place of freedom, that place of limitless, is truly just releasing what is no longer serving you. And then after you get into that release phase, it's all about defining what it is that you want, defining that reality, defining what that freedom looks like for you, and actively creating it. I think it's something so beautiful to understand that we are all artists, that we are all creators. We come from a creator that has allowed us to create. And so many people, they believe that they aren't creative, but you are naturally a creator. And to be a creator, then you are creative. And so creativity is in all of us. To create is to dream, and to dream is to create. And if you create long enough, if you dream long enough, and you really believe in what you are saying or thinking, then you will be willing to put forth the action, which just leads you to step three, which is all about honoring the dreams that you have, honoring the gifts that you've been given, honoring the desires that are on your soul. Ah, that's what it's really about. Honoring yourself and taking the action that honors you at a soul level, that honors that limitless, that honors that freedom. That's what it's really all about. And so I think it's so interesting, like I said, and I love work that pushes us and challenges us about what it is that we believe to be true. And I'm so glad that Sinners is bringing in this conversation for other people to think about freedom. Like I said, obviously, I have thought about this before. It's really in my jam. And so I want to add to the conversation and add to the challenge of when we think about freedom, may we think of it not only from a place of from, but then also transitioning from, okay, you know what it means to be free from. You know the things that you don't want. What are the things that you do? It's a question that people aren't asked enough, and it's a question that people can't answer enough. And so that is the question that I will lead off with is what does freedom look like for you? And as you do that work, I want you to challenge yourself to think of freedom to instead of freedom from. And then I also have a bonus question for the people who watch Sinners. Which character do you believe was the most free? Yeah, drop it in the comments. I am looking forward to hearing what you all have to say. I do have one-on-ones that are available. So if you're interested in working with me, if you're interested in getting to your own place of freedom, if you're interested in releasing, defining, and honoring yourself, go on ahead and drop a comment below, and I'll make sure that you are taken care of so that you can learn how to work with me and my team. But as always, be limitless. I'm Imani Dia, and I will see you all next time.